So page 15, loving kindness. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, not busy with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing, that the wise will later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be happy, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be happy. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with the boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to false views, the pure-hearted one having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yeah, so you need to have aircon now? Is it? Huh? You need to turn on the aircon? No need? Is it okay? Okay. 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 What does true meditation feel? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. What does true meditation feel like? Do you still have thoughts? Actually, meditation is not about like not having thoughts. And meditation actually, we still the mind, and actually because we're not aware of some of the thoughts that lead us to a loss of the puncture and the projection, proliferations, and then because sometimes we get sucked in, and then actually sometimes we reinforce emotion, and sometimes we're unable to see some of those thoughts. It's not all thoughts that is unwholesome. So when it's unwholesome thoughts, is this still the unwholesome emotion? Like some of the thoughts actually, it is like, for example, if you think of, what can I give? What can I share? Actually, this is wholesome thoughts. So it's the fact that you meditate is not that you're not to suppose that thoughts, you have to get rid of all the thoughts. No, because it's like, for example, people think that we shouldn't have desires. If we don't have desires, we will starve to death, isn't it? we're hungry, we need to eat, isn't it? You need to go to the toilet, and it's not all things that we have to have the desires, to do the practice, isn't it? You have the desires to come here. So it's not all thoughts that is unwholesome. It's only thing that because sometimes we don't aware of some of those unwholesome thoughts that leads to unwholesome negative emotions that drains our mental energy. So that's it, because actually the whole part of practice that we develop awareness, we develop mindfulness, we are aware of that, we are aware that whatever the thoughts arises, we are aware that, okay, these thoughts will lead me to more suffering and leads me to this negative emotion. So for example, you have thoughts of how bad the other person is, and you keep churning terrible, and you feel angry, and then this is negative emotion. But if you get up in the morning, so we have the thoughts of, wow, what can I give today? What can I, rather than thinking of what can I get, but because the thoughts that you're thinking of what can I give, that you develop these qualities like generosity, giving that is let go of the sense of self, rather thinking of what I can get, but we thinking of what I can give, what I can be of service. So that's why it's not that we shouldn't have any thoughts, but because of we don't aware of that, like the Buddha said, when the thoughts arises, when it is negative thoughts, it's unwholesome thoughts, when that arises, if we are not aware of these thoughts, how these thoughts that leading us to, then we are not aware of that. So the thoughts will manifest into speech. So we were thinking about inner speech, we keep talking to ourselves, and then they will manifest into action. We act upon it, isn't it? So, and then we keep doing the same thing, repeating the same thing again and again, then it becomes a habit. So when it's become a habit, it's hardened into, becomes a habitual pattern. It's become a habit. It's hardened. It becomes like a part of us, like a personality, a characters. And then it's very difficult to deal with. And then we without aware of that, like we become default setting. So whatever, for example, any trigger or someone says something nasty to us, we have that impulsive, that reaction. And when we have that, actually we start to develop more unwholesome emotion and lead us to more suffering, because we don't aware of that these thoughts leading us to suffering. And this is unwholesome thoughts that lead us to this a negative emotion and lead us to more suffering. We don't see that. And we don't see that sometimes that the thoughts leads us to doing something that is harming others and harming ourselves. So that's it. It's not about we shouldn't have any thoughts, but the meditation actually, when we calm our mind down, we be able to see that, okay. So because most of us, most people, if they don't have the awareness, they don't even notice that sometimes where's the thoughts leading us to. So they just follow, just react, without aware of that, without aware that this is leading us to this negative emotion and more suffering. So actually, the meditation, when we calm our mind down, then we become peaceful, we become more aware. For example, like sometimes people say, I'm confused, I can't make decision. So I normally say, when you're confused, when your mind is not peaceful and calm, you don't try to make any decision because you don't have the clarity. So when we meditate, actually when the mind becomes still, you have more clarity. For example, if you keep moving, can you see things clearly? You can't, isn't it? Or you stand still, you look, you can see a very nice, you can see the whole, 360 degree, you see a beautiful scenery, it's nice view. But if you keep walking, can you see? You can't. The same thing with the mind. Your mind keep moving. Your mind, with the thoughts, you keep thinking, we don't have one moment of peace. So then when we become still, quiet, we have more clarity. We are able to see that. So actually, it's a matter of develop these non-reactive awareness. So we just observe and look at, these thoughts is unwholesome. If I follow the train of thoughts, it's going to lead me more suffering. So that's why it's not about meditation suppressing, you shouldn't have thoughts. It's not about that. Actually, it's to calming our mind down and to develop that awareness, that non-reactive awareness, and become more mindful of our action so that we be able to act skillfully, appropriately, what is beneficial for ourselves and beneficial to others, for our own well-being and the well-being and after, actually to develop that clarity so that we don't, do something that is harmful to others, so we'll be able to live our life more skillfully. So I hope this answers the questions. So why do Buddhist monks and nuns wear the color they do? How does one become a Buddhist nun? How does a normal day for a Buddhist nun consist of? So the fact that we wear this color is so that, when it's dirty, it's stained, you can't see it. Because we have only one robe, so normally we wash and it's very thin. So it's dry very quick, like within an hour, it's dry, it's very thin. So, and also in this color, you can't see when it's dirty, it's stained, because we have only one robe, okay? So, yeah. And then how to become a Buddhist nun? So first of all, this is the training at Dhammasara. So if those who interested want to become a nun, any of you here interested want to become a nun, this is what the training that's Dhammasara. So first of all, you have to come to the monastery and stay and get to know the lifestyle. So you stay for 3 months, get to know the lifestyle as a layperson. And after that, you have to request to become, we call it anagarikas, a postulant. They're keeping 8 precepts. They wear white, you have to shave your head. So if you can't let go of your head, then it's very difficult to become a nun. I know someone, last time we have someone, before that she was okay. After she has shaven her hair, she was crying. So if you can't let go of your hair, so you cannot become a nun. So someone asked me, why you want to shave your hair? I said, because it's easy. We don't have to go to the hair salon. We don't have to do our hair, So it's like because we already, live the world. So it's easy for us because we have no money. We can't always go to the hair salon, do our hair and do our haircut. We can't do that. So it's the easiest way. We just shave our head and, and we save on shampoo. We don't have to even use shampoo. So that's like partly of that. We let go. And how does a normal life for a Buddhist nun? A normal life for a Buddhist nun is boring. You have to keep all the rules, and then you have to, every day you have to keep doing the same chores, and then you have to live in a community, and sometimes you have to put up with someone that always press a button. This is a lot of inner work. It's not so much about the, outside work, the inner work. So inner work actually is harder than hard to really look at one, because when we stay in a monastery and we live in a community. So it's just like, I like the simile that Chi Kwan Soon Ning gave. He said, we live in a community, like all the nuns, we live together. So we come from different backgrounds, different conditioning. So we have to put up with each other. So when I first become a nun, so I was thinking, oh, poor me, then I have to put up with this person, that person. Then after that, I stopped, hey, hang on a minute, they also have to put up with you. And eventually that, we rub, we have rubs, each other's, and then like a bag of potatoes, you put it together, you rub, eventually the potato become very clean. This is how when we live as a community, we have to develop kindness, compassion, being forgiven. We forgive each other. And this is how we develop that quality. And so because we have no entertainment, so every day, have to get up early in the morning, and it's all, it's all the routine you have to follow, so all the rules, you can't do this, you can't do that. So as a postulant, so you keep eight precepts. So, and then when you become a novice, you keep 10 precepts. You cannot hold money. So once you become a novice, then if you want to run away, it's also quite difficult because they have no money. So that is actually a big commitment because you have no money, and you're not in control. You cannot control. You just eat. You just take what's being offered, and we cannot sleep unless we are sick. That we truly only when we are sick only we can ask for certain things, and we cannot hint, offer me this, offer me that. We're not allowed to ask. So normally what's happened in the monastery, whatever they need, normally the nuns come to me. So I'm like the guardians, look after them. So whatever they need. So sometimes lay people to come up to us, oh, what can I offer you? So then I will tell, okay, I need, the nuns will tell me. So I will let the lay people know what we need. So basically, what we need is just our robes, medicine, food, traveling, that's all. So we don't hold money, we have no money. So, and it's a big commitment. And day in, day out, and there's breakfast, 6:30, and then get up early in the morning. Normally, we have 2 morning seats, and you have to come before 5. So, of course, it's optional. You can come at 3. So, it's optional. So, but latest is 5. So, and then 2 days, two evening seat, we come together, we chant. So every moon day, every 15 days, like full moon and new moon. So all the bhikkhunis will chant our rules. So for the fully ordained bhikkhunis, we keep 311 rules. So a lot of things that you can't do this, you can't do that. A lot of restriction. But actually, it seems that lots of restriction, but actually we are protected. It's just like it seems that we have no freedom, like a lot of restriction, but actually mentally we are free. So it's just like we look at those fish, in those aquarium. It seems that but they're free from those bigger fish to eat them, isn't it? They're free. It's just the same thing. We are protected. So, and then we have our system, the way we run the monastery, the system that is quite difficult for them to have the opportunity to break those rules. So, but once you go outside the monastery, then a little bit difficult to uphold the monastic rules. But if you are in the monastery, because everybody watching, whatever you do. So, and you're pretty safe. But if you're outside, sometimes it's quite difficult. So in the monastery, you're more protected. So there's a lot of rules, and that you have to keep. Lots of things you can't do, and you cannot ask. It's and especially when you first ordain, and it's easier because of when you get inspired, so sometimes the first 2 years still honeymoon. So the longer you're in monastic life, the more difficult, because to keep going, that you truly have to develop lots of passion, that truly enjoy the monastic life. If not, that passion is very difficult to keep going, because it's a very dry, like lifestyle, like, every day you see the same person and then doing the same thing, all the routine, you every day, nothing special happen. They say sometimes the monk quite that anything. Sometimes even they're very excited with small little thing because nothing happened. So it's a boring lifestyle. But that's right. If you don't have that you don't develop that passion, enjoy this lifestyle, it's very, very difficult to keep going. So that's why I keep encourage nuns that, that you come here, don't try to be someone. So being a nun is good. Don't try to be a good nun. I said I have no award for you being a good nun. We don't have a badge like the most Miss nuns. The best nuns. No such thing. So and this is you have to develop a lot of passion. You truly enjoy this kind of lifestyle. If you don't, it's not easy. I must say, it's a big commitment. And basically, you have actually you surrender your sense of self. That is the most difficult part. You cannot choose what you eat. You cannot choose, even what you wear. We all have the same hairstyle and then wearing the same robe, So that's why it's not easy. It's a big commitment, and you cannot hold money. You cannot control a lot of things that you have to let go of the control. That is the difficult part. That is the giving up the sense of self, giving up the controlling is the difficult part. There's sometimes, when the newly come in, those ordained, they still try to control a little bit. The only thing sometimes they when they come in, they can control a little bit. A kitchen, they can control a little bit. So my way, Sometimes you can see, like especially those Anagarikas, postulants that come in, they were always my way of doing, my way, my kitchen. This is my kitchen. But it's just natural because you can't let it go immediately. So you still that is good, but they already let go a lot. Given up a lot, given up control of money, given up the family coming in. They have already given up a lot. So sometimes, yes, you still have a little bit of craving. It's just normal because we are not there. They're not there yet. We have to start with where we at. So that's why when I first, when I decided to become a nun, I don't have the idea of being a nun. So I just like the lifestyle. Then I become a nun. So I don't have that idea of being a nun, That's why then I'm still here. That's why. So I came to Australia in 2002. So stay here about 18 to 19 years been here. So I train here and ordain here and stay until now. So So is meditation just sleeping while you're awake? What is the difference between sleep and meditation for your mind? So if you sleep, you don't aware. Sometimes if you're in deep sleep, even there is a fire, also you don't know. But meditation, you're fully aware. Your mind is alert. So that is the difference. So they say sometimes when our breath becomes very, very subtle and your mindfulness very weak, you just doze off, and then actually you don't have the clarity. So that's why sometimes when people sleep a lot, when you sleep a lot, you become very down. The mind have no clarity. So that's the difference. If meditation, that's actually to train, you build up your momentum to establish your mindfulness. So when you have your mindfulness, that is, if you have those super duper mindfulness, your mind is very bright. It's very, very bright. And you can even see things in a very, very subtle way. So that's why it's completely different. If you're sleeping, you completely sleep off. Sleeping, you don't know anything. Even there's a fire also, the siren goes off also, don't know. And then burn to death. Okay. So another question is, dear nuns, could you kindly explain my experience when I'm doing sitting meditation and advise me what to do then? So when I was meditating, a little thinking about the past as the future, or the future annoyed me. But I did have trouble with the present emotions, feeling, and body movement. After focusing on the breath, and for about 50 minutes, I felt hurt in my heart and tension in my brain, and hurt and tension in my brain, and that muscles in my head move worse. Then I started feeling my face, head move worse. Then I started feeling a strong energy grow in my body, move, was directed my head and turn right or left. My leg moved up. At that time, I was scared and observed what was going on. Then I experienced that if I let my body move as it wanted, then I stop and my tension disappeared. So my question is, what should I do? Should I do what I did, or force my body stop and recognize it? So you just don't do anything, because all this tension actually is the wind element. Sometimes when you sit, when your mind becomes peaceful, then actually it's always there. We just don't feel it. So when it's like for example, you feel sometimes your body you feel the vibration, and you feel that explosion. You can feel your whole body shaking. And that is, and also especially when you have built up a lot of tension in your body, and when your mind becomes peaceful and you let go, actually you release all the tension. So not to worry about that, and just leave it and just recognize, acknowledge that, and you just continue. So I used to have that in my early days when I start to meditate. There are lots of tension coming up. Sometimes I just sit, and sometimes my hand just goes like this. Luckily, no one sit beside me. I will hit someone. Actually, you release that tension. Sometimes your body jerk, and I feel sometimes my whole body like blow, like so big, and I feel that vibration. So that is the air element. So you can feel that vibration is the air element in the body. Because your mind, when your mind become peaceful, your mind become more refined, you'll be able to see those things. But normally that you don't see. So that so not to worry about that, and just just acknowledge that, just know that, and then after sometimes it will disappear. So after all your tension that you build up, or release, and it will not happen again. So it's happened to me quite often when I first started meditation. I use that. Sometimes I feel my body so big, and sometimes I feel my body becomes so small. and you have this, but it's not to worry about that, and it will stop by itself. So just not worry, just leave it. Just aware that how you feel. Just leave it, and it will stop by itself. Okay. After 2-3 walking and sitting meditation, I'm relaxed, and my mind and body are quiet, but I'm struggling to maintain focus on my breath without forcing it. Almost fall asleep, and I don't know what should I do. Yes, because your mindfulness is not strong enough to be able to sustain. So because the breath is a more subtle object, so sometimes if you find that you cannot continue, unable to sustain, so you can just gently get up and continue, go and walk again to build up your momentum, and build up your establish your mindfulness again. Because it's just like your mindfulness is not strong enough to be able to sustain long, especially when the breath is become very subtle. Your mindfulness is not strong enough to be able to focus on the breath. Because the breath has become very subtle, your mindfulness is not strong enough, unable to do that. So it's just like, and you have to go back to the causal object to build up again, to build up your awareness and to continue. And sometimes it's, it takes time, So as long as you feel relaxed and body quiet, and it's good. Don't try to. Sometimes you just cannot maintain too long. It's quite normal. So that's why you have to keep practicing. Then you have to keep build up your awareness, your mindfulness, the momentum. Then you'll be able to sustain longer. So you have to keep practicing. Should I stop meditating if I'm falling asleep? It depends. If you're truly tired, then yes. But it's sometimes you feel sleepy because you're sometimes that people feel sleepy. There can be sometimes they think too much. Then the mind become really down. Then you want to sleep. So sometimes it's good when you feel falling asleep, you can get up and do walking meditation. And because sometimes we want to sleep also partly because of we try to run away from things that we don't want to feel. That's why we put ourselves to sleep. So I just give you an example. There was a lady when I was in Thailand, and that we have this cremation. So the day before the cremation, so normally we have the ceremony. I think for someone from here from Thailand, so you have to wash the hand of the dead body. So then we look at the person, the deceased, look at the face. Then we do that. And then the next day we have the cremation. Then after that, the family come and collect all the ashes, the bones and things like that. And her kuti that is just quite close to the wall. And then she saw, why this group of people going there? So she went and had a look, and she found out in the wall having all these ashes, bones, and most of them put in those like Nescafe jar, you can see. And she was really terrified. And then that night she could not sleep. And because he saw that the dead body, he saw the face, and this person the face keep popping out in her face, and she was really terrified. And because of that, she put herself to sleep. 7 o'clock, she will sleep until next morning 7 o'clock. So this sometimes that sometimes we put ourselves to sleep because we don't want to face things that is like that unpleasant, or some of things that is we've been she was being terrified, so she put herself to sleep. And this is like sometimes we just want to feel it. We just want to. So that's why you always feel tired. I want to sleep. It's a way of running away from things that unpleasant, things that we don't want to experience. So there is many reasons. Sometimes maybe that eating too much, then you feel because of eating too much, then all your energy go to your stomach for digestion. Then you feel tired and you feel sleepy. And sometimes you truly tired, then you need to sleep. So that's why it just depends on. So you have to check yourself that whether you are thinking too much, using lots of mental energy, and that's why you feel sleepy, or you eating too much, or you just have some unresolved emotions comes out that you don't want to look at it, you don't want to face it, you don't want to deal with it, then you put yourself to sleep. Actually, the mind is very powerful. They can do all sorts of things. And this lady, I said, at least you can put yourself to sleep rather than the whole night you can't sleep. She sleep from 7 to 7 because she was really terrified. And she can put herself to sleep. I said, at least you can put yourself to sleep. Okay, so I hope this answers your question. So is focusing on breathing just a technique to become better at practicing mindfulness? So it's so actually focusing on the breath is just like give you something to focus on. It's like an anchor point. So that you'll be able to focus, so that sometimes you have to have something to focus, isn't it? So rather than if you don't have something to focus, your mind will wander off into the thinking, wander off into, you will react to your negative emotion. So actually it's just a technique that to help you to develop mindfulness. It's just an object. But some people, they're not used to use breath. Some people do meditation, and also can develop. And even some young monks, they have lots of energy. Some of them they do lots of walking meditation. Sometimes they walk 7-8 hours, walk up and down. So even with that also can develop and build up mindfulness. Of course, breathing is a more subtle object, and if you be able to focus on breath, your mind becomes still easily and quicker, because it's a subtle object. But other object is, if the causal object, you need a longer time, because it's a causal object. But of course, when we start to practice meditation, so you can't force yourself to focus on. If you can't focus on the subtle object like breathing, so you can do like body sweeping, loving kindness, or walking meditation. So I find I become a little robotic and feel a little mindless after a while, causing me to feel sleepy. I fall asleep. How do I get past this? I think sometimes we too tense when you feel that tired, sleepy, because that you try too hard. Sometimes you try too hard. That's why you have to relax a little bit, not to try too hard. So that's why when you try too hard, you use up, because you're using willpower, you try too hard. That's why you use up lots of mental energy. You feel tired, you feel sleepy. So then that's why sometimes you relax more. So not to try too hard. Sometimes when you try too hard, your body tenses up, and especially try to use willpower to focus, then it's not natural, because you use a lot of willpower to try to focus. Then you use up lots of mental energy. So don't try to use willpower. So try to use wisdom power. So a bit more, that relax a little bit more. And some people, they just tense. I have someone really tense. You can touch their body. It's really hard because it just tense up. So you have to relax more. So I find my thoughts racing all of the time. While I can observe this, I can't help but get caught in emotion and hurts. Any suggestion on how to harness my wisdom to transcend this, rein in the ego, and make better choice when needed? Sometimes when the thoughts, because your mindfulness is not strong enough, you'll not be able to really. If your mindfulness is strong enough, it's just like your mindfulness like a sharp knife. The moments that the thoughts arises, the moment you're aware of that, is stopped by itself. But obviously, your mindfulness is not strong enough, then you get caught. That's one of the things you can do. You can do the breathing exercise, the breathing exercise. So you're breathing in thoughts, breathing out peace. So you make peace with the thoughts. Because sometimes people try to get rid of the thoughts, you make it worse. You reinforce. So just recognize that and just breathing in thoughts, breathing out peace. So make peace with that. Or you can just go back to your bodily, go back to your body awareness. So when you have these thoughts, then you just pay attention you bring your awareness to your body to feel how it feels like. Is there any tension in your body? Because thoughts, emotion is a more subtle object, especially when your mindfulness is not strong enough. It's very difficult to be able to remain non-reactive awareness. You haven't had that the mind is not strong enough, it's not stable, not peaceful enough to be able to do that. So then you have to go back to the causal object. Causal object, that is maybe you just do the breathing in, breathing in thoughts, breathing out peace, and not try to control that the thoughts, that not to allow it out, not try to suppress it. Or you go back to your bodily feelings and sensation. Let's go back to the causal object. So, okay. I have severe arthritis in my hips and find it painful to sit and cross my leg to meditate. How can I overcome this pain, or should I choose a different position? Yes, if you don't have to. If you have pain, so don't try to sit cross-legged. So if you need to sit on the chair, you sit on the chair. So find the most comfortable posture. I have some meditation teacher wants the student to sit cross-legged, the lotus, and to try to sit lotus. Actually, the Buddha never said that the Buddha particularly said that you have to, you have to sit in a particular position. So I know we have someone force himself to sit, with. He has this knee injury, and he forced himself to sit and all night, and he ended up in hospital, have to do the surgery. So he have to go to the hospital because he have this injured knee, but he's just using willpower to force himself to sit. Then ended up in hospital. So there's like, be wise. It's okay if you just you can sit on the chair. So you don't have to sit cross-legged. Okay. So I have ADHD. Is it recommended that I take my medicine to stop my mind wandering so much, or will medicine stop me from reaching deeper meditative states? Because I actually don't know how conditions. Sometimes that you need to have medication, but at the same time you also continue to meditate, and because meditation is a slow process. But if your mind is too active, then sometimes you need to have medication, then you need to have medication. But don't stop meditating. You continue to meditate, but continue with your medications. So until when your mind becomes you become more skilled and your mind become more settled, then you can slowly, then only you can slowly stop your medication. But just don't simply stop, so okay? What does this meditation retreat differ to Vipassana? So they talk about Vipassana. Vipassana, that means they call it insight meditation. And actually, meditation itself, you need to have, the Buddha said, you need to have insight in order to become peaceful. And when you become peaceful, you will have your insight. So actually, you can't separate these two. Some people say, I do Vipassana, that means insight meditation. So the Buddhas mentioned in the Dhammapada, they said, no wisdom, no insight without jhana, no jhana without insight. So actually, you have to have both. So you have to have the small wisdom. So you have to have the insight. So your mind become peaceful. So when you become peaceful, as you become more peaceful, then you grow your wisdom. So you develop your clarity, you grow. As your wisdom grows, and then you become more peaceful. Actually, you cannot separate them. They are both hand in hand. So this grow, and as this grow, it will grow. Okay. So in meditation, when my mind comes in, the thoughts are majority super positive. So I bring acknowledgement until you and come back to the breath. And so often the whole new ideas and insight. What is your view and tips on this? Bringing back to the breath, regardless, or just your experience. Thank you. Okay, so it's best that even though it's a positive thoughts, and if you're doing breath meditation, you continue to do breath meditation. If you're contemplating, you contemplating. You don't mix. So you stick to you just acknowledge that yeah, it's something positive thoughts. So you go back to your breath again. So keep going. So until when your mind become more and more still. So continue. It's okay. How do we practice positive forgiveness? Thank you. So positive forgiveness, and you just bring the person to mind that have hurt you, that you forgive, and actually you don't force yourself, but sometimes that you can just if you can't do that, you can send loving kindness to yourself. Like for example, if you find yourself that you cannot forgive someone, you find it very difficult, so you don't force yourself to forgive, because it become counterproductive. So you can send loving kindness towards oneself. May I be able to forgive. May I be able to forgive this person. Or if we cannot forgive ourselves, so we send good loving kindness towards ourselves, that may I be able to forgive myself. Because some people, they force themselves, I should be able to do that. You can't. And then this also helps us to develop that inner integrity. You're just honest about that. So sometimes you can't let that go. You can't forgive. You can't. So just recognize that at this point, at this moment, I'm still unable to forgive, but it's okay. So I forgive myself for not being able to forgive. It's fine. So there's some people find terrible, they force themselves to forgive. I remember there was a lady that she said that they're going through separation because she having an affair with another guy. So she said to me that I get so upset because of, if he truly loved me, he should be able to forgive me. Then I said to her, oh, since, then why didn't you forgive him for unable to forgive you? And he said that if you cannot forgive me, that means you don't love me enough. If you love me enough, you should. I mean, sometimes you have to be honest ourselves, isn't it? We cannot forgive, we cannot forgive. We don't force ourselves. So that just to be honest ourselves. So sometimes you just bring the person to mind, that whoever that you want to forgive, that if you find that very difficult, because sometimes people told me that very difficult when they try to bring the person to mind, that, that want to forgive this person, say loving kindness to this person, they find it that the mind keep popping out all the horrible things that this person have done. So normally I said, then you stop, you don't force. So that is rather than you send loving kindness towards yourself, wish yourself that you be able to forgive this person. So you can't force it, okay? My best friend has recently been diagnosed with a mental illness. She's sometimes the person I know and love, but other times she's angry, not logical, aggressive towards others. She's often in my thinking when I meditate, as well as in my daily life. Can you please offer some advice on how I cannot be angry with her and still love her, even when she's angry with the world and upset others? So that says to develop the compassion towards her, seeing that the fact that she has lost her suffering as well. And have compassion. Have compassion doesn't mean that, oh, I feel pity for this, or pity, poor thing, is not. Compassion actually is that you come from that peace and calm, and you have that clarity. So you be able to really see the suffering of that person. So when you see that, and then, then because you know that the person can't help it. So the person can't help it. So then you reflect on that, contemplate on that. The person also suffer. And the person is non-self. The person can't help it. They have this illness. So we develop compassion towards that person, accept the person as the person is. And actually, the moment you accept, because if we truly come to a place of acceptance, completely accept the person as the person is, actually whatever the person do will not bother you. Truly, I have the experience. I have someone is a very difficult person, and always have press my button, and then I always have a lot of difficulties with this person. And when I come to the place of acceptance, truly accepting who she is, actually, whatever she do, even she get upset with me, I'm okay. Because to me, it's like, if this person not upsetting with me, is no longer her. Because I accept the person as a person is. If the person don't behave that way, so it's no longer that person, isn't it? So but of course, it takes a lot of practice to come to a place of acceptance, truly accept the person as the person is, not to judge the person. So, and it's not easy. It takes a bit of time. So you can develop some, compassion, and reflect on this person. That's the fact that this person is also suffer, and seeing the suffering in another person. And that also help to simmer down, to calm down your anger. That is one way to develop the compassion, seeing the suffering of others. That is non-self. The person can't help it. It's not that the person. No one wants to be an angry person, isn't it? Sometimes that's like sometimes. When I start to judge others, then I ask myself, sometimes it's easy to judge others. Oh, this person should do this, should do that. Sometimes we ask ourselves, if I were the person, I might do the same thing, isn't it? Sometimes it's easy said and done. We will criticize, complain, oh, this person shouldn't have done this, they should have do this, they should have done that. But sometimes we ask ourselves, try to put ourselves in the other person's shoes. If I were the person, I might do the same thing. So at least, to develop the compassion and see the suffering of others, that will help. But it takes a bit of time. For those of us who find self-compassion and self-love difficult, what advice can you provide? Yeah, lots of self-hatred. Like some people find it very difficult to have loving kindness and compassion towards oneself. So again, you don't force yourself to have loving kindness towards yourself. And you still can send loving kindness towards yourself, like, may I have loving kindness, compassion towards myself. So it's not that I should have, like, may I have. I wish I have loving kindness towards myself. Even though I don't have loving kindness towards myself, but at least I wish that I be able to have loving kindness towards myself. And this will help, because we have someone that have done that. Actually, it's more doable, rather than you try to send loving kindness towards yourself, but you wish yourself that you be able to have loving kindness towards yourself. That is a more doable, rather than you try to force yourself. I should have loving kindness towards yourself. May I be well, may I be happy. And then the more you do that, the more angry you are. And then you will just hold your hand, may I be well and happy. You can't do that. Sometimes you just have to soften, that it's okay. We just accept who we are. We accept who we are actually the fact that is be able to embrace ourselves, to accept who we are, that is truly being kind to ourselves. So we love ourselves as we are. No matter who we are, we love ourselves. So even though sometimes I don't have the compassion, self-compassion, self-love, very difficult, it's okay. No matter who you are, I still love you, okay? How do you find a balance between dropping deep into meditations, not falling asleep? I always seem to fall asleep, thank you. So you fall asleep, that means your mindfulness is not strong. That's why when you fall asleep, then you have to get up and do walking meditation to build up your mindfulness again. Because especially during breath meditation, when the breath becomes very subtle, your mindfulness is not strong enough, it's very difficult to focus because the object is too refined, too subtle. That's why you have to go back to the causal object, like doing walking meditation, just do some relaxation, and to help to build up. I find that it's useful. Early days when I start to meditate, I do lots of walking meditation. So normally I find that I have to walk. If I don't walk an hour, it's very difficult for me to sustain an hour. So normally I do 1 hour walking, 1 hour sitting. So because the walking meditation helped me to build up, so that arouse the energy, so that I be able to sustain, I be able to sit. If not, I can't sit. I remember when I first started to meditate, I can't just sit. If I just, without doing walking meditation, if I just sit, and I find that I can't sit long, like sometimes the most 25 minutes. So that's why normally, I normally do 1 hour, then I can sit for at least an hour. So after that, I do 1 hour, I can sit 1.5 hours. And then slowly, I do 1.5 hours, I can sit for 3 hours. But actually, you need to train. You have to keep training. There's no shortcut, okay? I'm trying to better understand right view. Okay. Can you please talk about non-self in meditation? So when we talk about non-self, it doesn't mean that no one there, no one here. Non-self, that we are not in control. But because we think that we're in control, we try to control our meditation. We think that we are in control. We try to control things, we try to control others. We try to control things that we want the things the way we want it to be. And we misinterpret that whatever for example, whatever we experience, we take it to be me and mine. For example, if you this moment you experience you feel depressed, then we identify whatever we experience in this moment as belongs to me. Like we have the ownership of the experience. So when we depressed, we say, I am depressed. So then we will send ourselves to life imprisonment that we should depress for the rest of our life. Or we feel annoyed, then we say, I am annoyed. As if that you should annoy for the rest of your life. No, this is how we label ourselves. This is the identity view, how we view ourselves. So we tend to label our experience as this is me and try to have the ownership. I have the ownership of this is me. Like for example, someone feel agitated, irritated, and she said, I'm so agitated and irritated right now. So I'm going on a retreat the next day. So I think I will have a agitated and irritated retreat. So and I told this person, I said the most agitated person in the world still have a moment they are not agitated, isn't it? So this is sometimes we tend to identify. And we think that we have to live out with that. Sometimes it's okay, when you feel depressed, so it's just okay, this is how I feel. So depression comes, depression goes. And things won't stay. It comes and goes. It arises and it passes away. So that there's no a permanent self there. That the problem is things that we like, we try to make it stay. We try to control. Things that we don't like, we try to push it away. But the fact that we cannot control, but we misinterpret that whatever that we experience is me, is my feelings, my experience. So if I like this experience, I want to make it into mine. I want to make it stay forever. But you can't because it's non-self. So there's actually you have to keep practicing to have a deeper understanding of non-self. Sometimes it's quite difficult to put into words. So sometimes you can see how we suffer. Then whenever we suffer, it always comes from the sense of self, our ego, we try to control. But the fact that we cannot control, things don't always go our way, isn't it? So when things don't go our way, we get so upset, we got angry. So because we think that it shouldn't be that way. If don't go my way, there must be something wrong. Nothing wrong, things don't go our way. So yeah, I hope this will answer the person's question. So do you have to focus on your breath to meditate? Can you focus on sound around you instead? Birds, wind is the main good, clear your mind of thoughts. Can you think about the sounds? You can use that as a transition period. But if you find it very difficult to focus on breath, you can just relax, walk, and look at the birds, and you can use it as like a transition period. That because when your mind is busy, it's very difficult that you try to focus on your breath. So you can use it, but you can't use it as your main object, because if you use it as a main meditation object, it's very difficult to go deep. I mean, it's okay. It will help you to calm yourself down, become peaceful. But if you want your mind become really still, and you really want to go deep, then you can't with focusing on sound. But you can use this as a skillful means for calming yourself before you go on your breath meditation. You can use this as one of the skillful means. Okay? So, what is this? Waking out. Yeah, yes, a form of meditation. When you're waking out, it's more like your mind is meditation actually supposed to make your mind more alert and aware. If you're waking out, it's more like blur. So that is not meditation. Meditation actually your mind is clear and alert. And it's if you're just waking out, that means your mind is just blur. So then that is not mindful. So as your mindfulness grow, actually your mind become brighter and brighter, and you have clarity. You have more and more clarity. Okay, so that's why it's not a form. And why? Because it's, you don't have, you're not alert, you're not aware, you don't have awareness. It's because if you're mindful, your mind is very sharp. You have that clarity. So this one, no clarity, is just like half sleeping. It's just blur. Okay. My daughter, 9 years old, has a strong fear of death. Sometimes she even wishes to not have been born so she won't die and see us die. How can I help her? So the fear of death. Yeah, sometimes you just have to calm her down. I remember my grandson also, he said that he don't want us to grow old because if you grow old, you die. So normally I just tell her that, oh, I'm okay. You see, I'm already old. You see, I'm still okay. So I won't die so soon. And because it's quite difficult for a 9-year-old child who have a strong fear of death, and sometimes she even wishes not to have been born. And actually, to really look at it that way, that rather than thinking that they have the strong fear of that, because the fear of that is more come from the lack of inner security, that you don't feel safe, feel insecure. That's why you have the fear of that. That's why it's good that you can teach her to practice. 9 years old, you can practice. You can practice present moment awareness. So be more present. So and maybe can teach her to do some focusing on the bodily sensations and feelings, or teach her to do some breathing exercise. And for example, when she have the fear, because this is simple, it's easy for a 9-year-old kid. So and whenever she have this fear, then you just ask her to just breathe in fear. Breathing in fear, breathing out peace, breathing in fear, breathing out peace. Then it will help her to calm down. So then she will stop. Because if not, then she will again suck in again, and then she keep repeating, have that fear, and then reinforce the fear again and again. So at least you teach her the simple way, just to breathe in fear and breathe out peace, make peace with the fear. With fear, is help her from reinforce the fear again. So this is a simple exercise you can ask her to do. I hope this will help. Okay. So any more questions or comments besides the questions here? So I'm doing my best to answer all your questions, because sometimes I can't really know that when someone asks the questions where the person truly coming from. Because sometimes the questions that if the person I know, when they ask that questions, and I truly know where's the person coming from. Sometimes merely just looking at the questions, sometimes I can't really know where's the person coming from, what actually the person asking. But I'm doing my best, okay? Sometimes when you face to face, you talk to someone and you understand the person, and you know the person background, and when the person asks that questions, and then you know where's the person coming from. But sometimes just the questions like that, sometimes I don't actually sometimes really know where the questions, but I do my best, okay? So any more questions or comments? Yes. Yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Peacefulness
Mm-hmm.
for like 10 to 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because I haven't experienced that before, I just kind of freaked out. And that, what was it?
Oh, yes, because sometimes when your breath disappears, do you have that delight or joy? Do you have the joy? Yes, it's like that, because when your breath disappears, then you move to the next step. You experience the feelings. That is feelings. You're experiencing the feelings. That's why you don't feel the breath. That's why you have the joy and happiness. Then when after you experience it, you have this rapture, happiness. So you are experiencing the feelings. So that's why this is how you drop, so you don't feel the breath. So then after that, so you keep going, just stay with the joy, with the peace. You just stay with that, and you slowly will move to experiencing the mind. So like the lights comes out, and you have the nimitta. So then your mind become more and more still. So that's why it's okay. You just stay with the peace. Stay with that. And some people get afraid. What is that? So next time it's happen again, just stay with that peace, that happiness, that delights. You have the joy of that peace. So because you're letting go of the breath, so now you're experiencing the feelings, the joy. Okay, this answer your questions. Okay. Yes.
Where do you go after you die?
Huh?
Where do you go after you die?
I don't know. According to individuals, your karma, what we have done. Sometimes it just to me, I don't know. So if you believe in rebirth, so if you someone have lived a good life, if last minute you have a peaceful, you're calm. So normally when we die, if we in the state of mind that very peaceful, normally you go to a good place, because that is the energy. If the energy that is unwholesome energy, so you will look for a place to reborn that is that will be like the frequency, the energy you will suck into. That state, the state of mind determine where you go. Like frequency you suck in, like same frequency, you go to the same frequency. So you're looking for a place to rebirth. But if you don't believe in rebirth, then at least if you are happy this life, so if you live a good life now, so then at least you're happy this life. But if you do, and then also you don't have to worry because you live a good life in this very life. So then even if there's a rebirth, then you have more confidence that you will go to a good place.
So how important is it, the frequency on your deathbed, to where you would go next?
It's sometimes that depends on how strong your attachment. Like for example, like some people, they have very strong attachment towards the family. They can't let go. So normally they will reborn in the spirit realms that will hang around. So we so-called the ghosts. So when they let go, they can move on the journey. So but normally they won't stay long, because depends on how attached you are. Like normally those that have been sick for a long time, normally they pass away very peacefully. When they pass away peacefully, they're more likely that they go to a good place because they're peaceful. Because they have enough. Too much suffering, the body gives them too much suffering. But yes, they say it depends on your state of mind. So how attached that you are towards yourself, your body, your family, and I don't know. So any more questions? Yes.
People that are really time poor, what's the minimum amount of time per day or per week you'd recommend for meditation?
Oh, if as much as you could, if you have time, whenever time you do it, the more the better. You spend more time, then you build up your mindfulness. You have time whenever you have time. So keep practicing. Huh?
Like 10 minutes, 20 minutes?
Yeah. So whenever you have time, just stop and meditate but it's better than nothing. 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So keep doing that. Any more questions or comments? Yes.
Is the use of mantras equally strong as the breathing, to focus on that, or not as strong?
To use what? Can you repeat? Huh? Our mantras. Actually, that's helpful when you have lots of thinking. because sometimes if people have lots of thinking, you can't stop the thinking. So then mantra is help to, it's still mantra itself, is still thinking. Like if you puto, but you minimize your thinking. So it's useful. Then if you be able to focus on your breath, then you have to let go of the mantra. So like, for example, for some people find it very difficult because the breath is very subtle, they find it very difficult to focus. Then they use mantra. For example, some people use, when they breathe in, put, and then breathe out, to, puto. And when you use that, actually it's also helped you to minimize your thinking. Puto itself is still thinking, but you minimize your thinking. Okay. So anything else? Yes. Depends. Sometimes people sitting outside, there's a sunlight, and then they thought it's nimitta. So if you're in a dark room and it's very bright, then definitely it's a nimitta. But if you sitting outside, there might be the sunshine on your face. Where people think, oh, nimitta coming, very excited. And the moment you feel so excited, gone. So, but if you're in the dark room, then it's definitely is nimitta. So when the nimitta comes, you just keep focused in the center. Just keep on the center. Sometimes people have different color. So no matter what color it is, so if you focus the middle, it just becomes just light. Because if you try to see outside, then you can see the color. But if you focus in, actually even blue light or red light or yellow light, actually eventually if you focus in the middle, it's just light. Okay? Don't look at the side, can focus in the middle. So if you are in the dark room, that is nimitta. But if you are sitting outside, sometimes it's just the sunshine on your face, and that is not nimitta. Okay? Anything else? Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about contemplation and reflection. Is that something that's done at a conscious level or a subconscious level when you're actually deep in meditation?
Oh, that's on a conscious level. So when your mind becomes peaceful and calm, and you can do that. But if your mind is not stable and like not calm, not peaceful, then if you do that, it's become thinking. So it's not contemplation, it's become thinking. Because contemplation and reflection is deeper, on a deeper level. You have that wisdom, have that insight. But thinking is different thinking. So sometimes that's why when your mind is not peaceful and calm, and that's why I don't encourage people to do that contemplation, because then you start to think and start to analyze. Okay? So any more questions or comments? Okay. No more questions? Okay. Going. Gone. Okay. So good night, have a good rest. So tomorrow, so again 5:30. Can't you hear? Because I'm not sure with the mic. It's okay with the, okay, good.